Olivia never imagined her life would take such a turn. She had always thought marriage was supposed to be predictable, filled with quiet dinners, inside jokes, and the occasional romantic getaway. But ever since she married Ryan, her life had been anything but predictable. He was charming, spontaneous, and loved being surrounded by friends. He had a way of making everyone feel included, which was one of the reasons she had fallen in love with him in the first place. Ryan's closest friends, Jason and Luke, were practically like brothers to him. They had been inseparable since college, their bond only growing stronger over the years. When Olivia entered the picture, she was welcomed into their circle with open arms. She quickly grew close to them, appreciating their presence in Ryan's life and, eventually, in her own. They spent weekends together, laughing over shared meals and reminiscing about stories from their younger days. It was a friendship built on trust, loyalty, and a deep understanding of one another. One evening, Olivia found herself sitting across from Ryan, Jason, and Luke at their favorite bar. It was a tradition they had kept alive, meeting at this spot at least once a month, no matter how busy life got. The air was filled with the sound of clinking glasses, lively chatter, and the low hum of music playing in the background. "You guys have been my rock," Ryan said, lifting his beer in a toast. "To the best friends and the best wife a guy could ask for." Olivia smiled, warmth spreading through her as she clinked her glass against theirs. It was in moments like these that she truly felt grateful for the friendships they had built. But she also knew that such strong connections came with challenges. Over time, she had noticed a shift in their dynamic. The more time they all spent together, the more complicated things seemed to get. Lines blurred, emotions deepened, and unspoken words hung in the air like a secret waiting to be uncovered. One night, after a particularly long evening of conversation and laughter, Olivia found herself reflecting on the bond she shared with them. She had always been close to Ryan's friends, but lately, she had felt something different, an unspoken connection that went beyond just friendship. Jason and Luke had always been protective of her, always there to lend an ear when she needed advice or a shoulder to lean on. And as much as she tried to ignore it, she couldn't deny that she had started to feel something more than friendship toward them. She wasn't sure when it had begun, but she had noticed the way Jason's eyes lingered on her a little longer than usual, or how Luke always seemed to find reasons to be near her, offering comforting touches that sent shivers down her spine. At first, she brushed it off, telling herself it was just her imagination. But the more time they spent together, the harder it became to ignore. One evening, after Ryan had fallen asleep early, Olivia found herself alone in the living room with Jason and Luke. The soft glow of the fireplace cast a warm hue over the room, and an unspoken tension filled the air. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment before Jason finally spoke. "You ever feel like some things in life are meant to happen, even if they don't make sense?" he asked, his voice low. Olivia turned to him, her heart beating a little faster. "What do you mean?" Luke sighed, rubbing a hand over his face. "I think what Jason is trying to say is that sometimes we form connections that go beyond what we expect. And those connections can be complicated." She looked between the two of them, realizing that she wasn't alone in feeling this way. It was terrifying and exhilarating all at once. Here were two men who had become such a significant part of her life, and somehow, she had crossed an invisible line without even realizing it. "Ryan trusts us," she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. "And we trust him," Jason replied. "But that doesn't change what's in our hearts." Olivia exhaled, feeling the weight of their words settle over her. She knew that whatever this was, whatever feelings they were struggling to make sense of, it was something they would have to navigate carefully. Love and friendship were fragile things, and she wasn't willing to risk the life she had built with Ryan. Over the next few weeks, she tried to push her feelings aside, reminding herself of the boundaries that needed to be respected. But emotions were tricky, and the more she tried to suppress them, the stronger they became. She knew she had to talk to Ryan, to be honest about what she was feeling before it spiraled into something that could no longer be controlled. One evening, as they sat together on the porch, Olivia took a deep breath and turned to her husband. "Ryan, can we talk?" He looked at her, concern flickering in his eyes. Of course, Liv. What's on your mind? She hesitated for a moment before finally speaking. I think, I think I've developed feelings I wasn't expecting, and I don't know what to do about it. Ryan was silent for a long time, his expression unreadable. Finally, he reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. Liv, I've always known how much you care about them. And honestly, I think they feel the same way. But what matters to me is what we do with that. I love you, and I trust you. We just have to figure out what this means for us. Tears welled in Olivia's eyes. I don't want to lose you. You won't, he assured her. We'll figure this out together. As the night stretched on, they talked, really talked, about their feelings, their fears, and what the future might hold. It wasn't an easy conversation, but it was an honest one. And in the end, that honesty was what mattered most. In the days that followed, Olivia realized that love wasn't always simple. Sometimes it was messy and complicated, filled with unexpected twists and turns. But at the heart of it all was trust, and as long as they had that, she knew they would find their way through, together.